My name is Amaya, and I'm here to speak with you today about the use of generative AI within talent acquisition and within the field of HR. My purpose today for looking through this module was to learn more about how we can explore the different forms of AI and how it is used within the field of HR. There's a dependent need for better time efficiency and better productivity within HR and talent acquisition. So before we move into that, I know many are wondering, what is talent acquisition? I know I was at first, and how can AI better the field of talent acquisition? So talent acquisition is basically the hiring process within HR, and excuse me, and generative AI is how we can grow to make it better. AI is basically a form of a computer source that allows for better efficiency and its importance of productivity. By doing so, it's an automated, repetitive task that is able to streamline workflows and better reduce the time to hire. So therefore, we are now cutting the time cost of what may have taken, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 people. Maybe one person over here was in charge of looking up the candidates. Another person was in charge of the hiring process. Another person was in charge of scheduling interviews and deciphering through resumes. Now, through generative AI, we can now cut that time basically down to none, because a computer source is able to read and list through that. So now that we are now that we are using generative AI, we are now able to improve not only the talent acquisition part, but and the hiring process, but now we are able to better the candidate's experience through generative AI by giving them 24/7 support, and now they have access, and we now have access to offer tailored information or any questions that they may have. So through the tailored information, we are now able to offer a 24-hour support to not only ourselves within HR, but those candidates who maybe aren't able to always have someone on the phone with them, or maybe once upon a time we had someone who was sitting in an office who their job was to answer candidate calls all day. Now we have removed that job, and now we have generative AI to answer all those questions for those candidates. So through generative AI, we're now able to gain a more competitive advantage within HR. This means we are able to now identify the talent and now more effectively make data-driven decisions to further build a stronger company of HR. So this basically means, since we are now more effectively being able to make those data-driven decisions, that means that generative AI is now looking through those resumes and those profiles to ensure that a candidate basically better fits with your company. And also, not only for us as HR, but the candidate can now be able to use that generative AI to look at, oh, okay, now I need to make sure that I have this, this, and this that matches with what the company is looking for within my resume. So we're now able to, through generative AI, we're able to look at a candidate's skill level and determine if they are a better fit for our company. So now we don't have to, I don't want to say waste time, but time that was once taken to that was once taken for interviews, and maybe this person wasn't the best fit for our company. Now we're able to use AI to better look for better candidates within the system. So we are also able to prepare for future work by developing essential skills such as AI literacy and data analysts through a human-centered design. So basically through a human-centered design, that's meaning through any prompt that I put in. So we know that humans aren't always the best at literacy and writing exact data points, which is why the use of generative AI is so important. And we are now able to swift through important information like those resumes. We may look at a person's past job experience. Now we don't have to go searching for that and calling different companies for that. Now we can just sort through that data-driven information and see if this person is the best fit for our company. So throughout the module, as I explained, the use of generative AI is not only important for the candidate but also for us, and we are now able to make those human judgment and ethical decisions that are responsible for the use of AI within talent acquisition. Throughout the module, I have learned about the automation of repetitive tasks and how generative AI is able to complete tasks within a matter of seconds. So now what was once time-consuming for humans is now down to probably, I don't know the exact data, but we could say less than 2 seconds you get your answer. So like I said, resume screenings, scheduling interviews, and drafting initial outreaches, we no longer have to do callbacks because generative AI is basically going to generate all that for you. So we can now move on to streamline workflows and how this helps our entire recruitment process by simply automating data entries, generating reports, providing real-time insights, and a good candidate flow performance. So we can improve a candidate's experience by using personalized communication AI. So personalized communication AI is basically where we take these generative AI video chats, and we put in a prompt. We might say, help a candidate learn more about our business. So this is where we use voice chats and video chats, and we put those generative AI apps together, and we are now able to personalize videos and images to now help our candidates' needs. It's basically similar to cloning a video or a voice. You can even do it with someone within your company. This creates a more engaging and positive response for candidates. Also through generative AI, like I said, we have 24-hour access, which we now have AI-powered chat boxes. So maybe I have a question at 12 a.m. and maybe there's no one in the office at 12 a.m. I can now ask that question to a chat bot and get a quick and swift response and answer. This also improves the time accessibility. It would have once taken someone to respond to an email. Again, now we don't have to wait so long. Now let's speak about the many other things that generative AI brings to the table. It has now enhanced the talent pool by proactive sourcing, improving candidates, matching data-driven and decision-making, which now allows us to gain a more competitive advantage over our competitors. Proactive sourcing generative AI, when we speak about that, we're basically speaking about identifying the passive candidates who basically right now they're not actively looking for a job position, but they may be searching for a job. This is awesome in a way because it's especially helpful because it expands our talent pool by increasing those chances of finding a top tier candidate. Maybe they weren't looking for a job within our field, but what we may be looking for and what they're looking for and their skill sets may match with what we're looking for. And now that eliminates the time process that it might have taken someone to look through those resumes. And also it found that candidate by sifting through different data points. Third, we use generative AI to improve candidate matching through many different algorithms. So this means that generative AI is sifting through online platforms, maybe LinkedIn and other online job finding sites, and we are now able to sift through hundreds upon thousands of different candidates with just putting in a simple prompt. Maybe, for example, find a candidate who is good at data analytics, and boom, over 100,000 different profiles pop up, and you can, with more prompts, you can simplify it from there. So with data-driven and decision-making, we are now able to do more proactive analytics. This means that we are now able to analyze that data from previous hiring decisions and identify the patterns within that person's resume or within the online job candidacy. Many humans may look over this, like I said before, and you might miss an important candidate that you probably wanted to have on your team. So this brings us to the competitive advantage that AI faces within a company. So now that we are using generative AI, you now have those faster time to hire stats. So this reduces the time that it may have taken the hire process, which also gives you a competitive edge through that talent. We now through that stronger competitive advantage. This now builds up your company to have a stronger employee brand, which means that obviously if generative AI is looking for those top candidates, now you're able to put together basically an elite team of hires and obviously have a more proficient outcome. So within my conclusion, because I'm sorry this video is getting a little bit long, while generative AI offers a significant amount of potential and benefits, it is also important to recognize its responsibility for its ethical use. So the question is, while there is a need for generative AI, should we always use it for every single thing? And my answer from what I've learned within this module is no, because humans actually do still have the upper hand when it comes to generative AI. Humans still have the empathy factor and building connections. And I'm not saying that we should not use generative AI. It's definitely it definitely brings a more efficiency factor, but the last step of the talent acquisition process within HR is it's human-like touchness. So basically those connections that we need, humans still at the end of the day prefer to speak to a human than generative AI at the end. So I myself do not work in HR or talent acquisition. I am my future career is teaching, but that doesn't mean that using generative AI within HR is any different from teaching, because we do still have generative AI that can help with personalized learning, and just like talent acquisition with its candidates, it allows what's it called? Learning to become more easily. You have information that is easily accessible throughout the data. You would typically use for finding candidates. You are now able to decipher and identify areas in which a student either has weaknesses or it's their strengths, which is just like how generative AI is able to swift through different data points and find those amazing hires. So generative AI is a creative power tool that not only just helps within one career line, but generative AI helps with whether it's talent acquisition or teaching. There are many other things that it can use, and it has a great efficiency and is a benefit to humans. Thank you, and I hope you also learned something today like I did.